Just have to take a quick minute to thank our sponsors, Yellow Dog Paddle, Mackin's Rip and Lips Fishing Trips, NJFishing.com, and 8 Ball Sportfishing. Also have to thank our supporters, Psycho Jigs, Lip Glue, Nor'easter Hardcore Apparel, Hoggy Time Jigs, The Mimi Sick, and The Gambler. NJ Multi-Species Podcast. I'm your host, Joe Santiago. As always, my partner, Chris Pereira.
I'm here.
There he is. Oh,
I just had to go to the bathroom, so there's a good chance that I'm froze.
You froze for a minute. You're back now. A lot of news, a lot of shit going on. A lot of fishing reports, too. Good ones. I don't even know where to begin. I'll start with the party. NJF Christmas party. The donations keep coming in. The prize list on njfishing.com is unbelievable if you want to check it out. Chris, you agree? I mean, it's even crazier than last year.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know about that. It's about equal, I'd say. But
yeah, but there's still a lot of time left. We
basically we thought that it was like almost too much last time.
Oh yeah.
But I asked everyone, that donated last year because I don't want to leave anyone out. And I asked a couple, I asked at like Sporting Life. I don't think anyone asked last year. So I asked them, they're donating gift certificates.
We can't start naming them because it'll take forever, but you can go to njfishing.com. The thread is live and the guest list. Jerry does have a waiting list too. If you're still interested in going, you never know if someone isn't going to pay when the deadline comes. So you do have a shot at getting in.
It's always like that. Is that your phone?
It's probably Deuce's, so that the viewers can't hear that.
Yeah, he didn't silence himself.
Charles Brion's here. Hello, Charles. What was I going to say? I forgot. The fishing
people
reports.
Always have to back out of the Christmas party, for unforeseen reasons because they say they're going to, they want to go a couple months in advance and then they just can't. Things come up or whatever it is. So definitely, and the waiting list isn't that long. Like not that many people have told us that they wanted to come. So if you do really want to come, definitely get your name on the waiting list. And there's a good chance at this point that you'll be able to go.
Tonight's guest is Dan from PalMarius Fishing Rods. We first met Dan when he donated one of his rods to us for the Gambler Trip giveaway, which was awesome. Didn't even know who they were before that. So he will be here in about 10 minutes. PalMarius Rods. Those guys fish all over the world, so we'll have a bunch of questions for them. Fishing reports. New Jersey saltwater fishing's been amazing. I love seeing all the party boats being successful. The Gamblers crushing striped bass. Sailing every day at 7:30 if you want to get on striped bass, mostly throwing diamond jigs. I shared videos of Captain Ron. Captain Ron's been pounding on them almost every day. Me and Chris got to go.
And if you want a smaller boat, 8 Ball's still go. I don't know if he has any trips open still, but
last time we spoke to 8 Ball, he had 3 dates left.
Okay. Running slim if you want a smaller charter.
If you do want the 6-pack charter, 8 Ball is always what we would go with. But yeah, if you want to get on the striper bite, now is definitely the time to find a way to get there. I know a lot of spots are tight. Me and Chris were out there. We got to go with the Kennedys. Chuck Manny invited us to go take the Kennedys out for, I think it was Sandy's first time ever on saltwater.
On a boat? I know I've seen them shore fishing on vacation and stuff, but I don't know.
I don't know if she's ever been on the ocean. Might have been the first time. They got to catch some giant stripers. Still posting those videos. She also hooked into something that she fought for about 15 minutes and then it snapped us off. Chuck thinks it was a thresher shark. Me and Chris think it was a tuna fish. I'm actually going to release that entire video. I have the whole thing. I'm going to just let it out on YouTube. If you're watching it, watch this video and drop a comment on what you think this fish is.
Yeah, like I agree with Chuck though that it just didn't seem like yeah, it was dumping the spool on that, what was it? What size was it? It was a striper spinning reel, like it wasn't meant for
it might have
tuna.
been a 6,000.
Yeah, like it was a striper. It was a striper.
It was actually
reel.
one of the lighter striper spinning reels on the boat.
And so it was getting dumped. Chuck was chasing it. I think he said at a couple of points he was chasing it at like 10 or 12 miles an hour to catch 12. Up to the line dumping off. But he's had to do this with some of these big bluefin before that he accidentally hooks on the striper gear. And I think he said he's going like full speed, like 25 miles an hour, and it's still dumping off. So it didn't really match that. But you never know, right? Because the tuna might just not have been swimming at full speed, or, it could.
I don't have enough experience to really say. Usually Chuck's always right when it comes to this kind of shit, but
he'd have the most experience, but he said that the Thresher would usually come to the surface, and it didn't. Whatever this was never came anywhere near the surface. We didn't see the tail, nothing.
I fought a couple big sharks on Chuck's boat, and it was nothing like that. I don't know.
With shark gear, you did.
I mean, yeah, but even on the shark gear, like they seemed more powerful, I guess the word would be, than that. I don't know. It's a weird. The fish, I would say it was like the fish was fast, but not super powerful. I don't know. You have to watch the video. I mean,
it easily overpowered the drag on that spinning gear, but it wasn't super, super fast. I don't know. Check it out. If anyone has any better guesses than...
Some people that saw pictures of the reel said that if it was a bluefin, they would have just spooled the reel instantly.
I think it would have melted it.
That's kind of what Chuck said too, but I don't know. It's very strange. It didn't move like a shark to me. Not that I know
I have no idea. I hate that we didn't get to... I mean, you basically knew we weren't going to land whatever it was technically, but we wanted to see it, and we didn't. And
I actually snuck over to Chuck and I asked him. I said, "What's the chance that we're going to get to see this fish?" And he said, "Honestly, probably one out of 30." And I said, "Really? It's that bad?" He's like, "Yeah, we're not going to get to see it." I said, "Oh shit." And then it did end up making a vicious 180-degree turn right into the prop.
And it's not her fault, and this is her first time doing this. So if I said it was her fault, I'm sure she wouldn't even take offense to it. But I mean, when you're undergunned with the gear, you're undergunned with the gear. There's only so much you could do. I mean,
we were undergunned with the gear and the boat in this fish. It was just killing us, and
the time in is never undergunned.
That's also true. But yeah, the fish, Chuck had to keep swinging left and right, but eventually, actually, it went under the boat once, and Chuck pulled a really clever thrust maneuver and spun the boat, and line came back out. But
I think he did that twice, actually. I think it was the third time it did go right into the prop. It was because the fish was much closer at that point. We were pretty close, I think, to getting to see it.
I would say no. I think that drag was freaking 3/4 of the way empty still. I don't know.
Really?
Maybe I have to rewatch it. At one point in the video, Chuck has the boat going 12 miles an hour. Sandy is reeling the reel at full speed, and it's still taking drag. And you see me on camera just saying, "Holy shit." But I don't have enough experience. I'm not an offshore guy. I'm sure offshore guys will see it and think they know. I saw one person said it's a cow nose ray. No. I would say that's wrong, because those I fought tons of. This was not one of those.
This was well, they probably didn't understand that this wasn't like light gear. This was like big striper type spinning gear.
Yeah, and it also attacked the swim shad way off the bottom. It was not even near bottom.
Yeah, even a big cow nose ray while you're using lighter fluke gear, like they'll give you a drag burning, couple of drag burning runs, but they even on that type of gear, they wouldn't do what this thing did.
Chuck is here. Chuck is saying the fish was 30 yards away.
Yeah, see, we were close.
So that's 90 feet. Yeah, that's a lot
That's
closer
why when
than I
it
thought.
turned, it went under so quick he couldn't really. I think you were standing in his way. I think if you rewatch the video, you were standing in his way. You couldn't see the line, and technically, I think he blamed you for that.
He might. Chuck, was it my fault that we? Charles is saying he was out there Saturday and fought 100-pound bluefin for 3 hours. So those fish are around. Chuck said 0 chance it was a cow nose ray. 0, absolute 0.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Yeah, real quick, 8-ball sport fishing out of Point Pleasant, like we just talked about. If you want to get in on the crazy striper bite, give 8-ball a call. Super affordable, and he's very convenient. He even does trips after work, stripers on mini rods. It is the time to go right now. Call 8-ball sport fishing. I think we're gonna get PalMarius in a minute. I also talked to Mike Herman today, Yellow Dog Paddle. Yellow Dog Paddle said the brown trout fishing in Round Valley has become really good now, catching a lot of brown trout and a lot of very big yellow perch, 13 inches and over.
So, I just heard Chuck Manny's pants get smaller.
Well, they might have. But yeah, Yellow Dog Paddle is getting a nice mixed bag of fish, lake trout, rainbow trout. So if you're looking to troll Round Valley, I would call Yellow Dog Paddle. Also, Mike's jigging walleye on the Delaware River still. Sent me pictures yesterday of a couple nice walleye on a bump board. So if you're looking to jig the Delaware River, Yellow Dog Paddle's also offering that right now, but not for too much longer. I think till the end of December, and then he's done. So yeah, YDP. What else do I have to say here before we bring in PalMarius?
I don't know. Do you want to talk about tog fishing at all?
Oh yeah, Chuck wanted to go tog fishing, and he sent us to the store to buy green crabs.
Half a bushel.
Now half a bushel. Now he's pretending that like he was forced into it and kidnapped because all his friends are making fun of him on the internet for togging. But it was awesome. It was dropping reel.
I think Johnny Bucktails was making fun of him in real time.
Time man out catching 14-inch tog while everyone else is bluefin tuna fishing. But yeah, it was awesome. We got to catch a lot of tog. I posted that video on YouTube already. At one point, I even got to switch to a jig rod, a spinning rod with a jig on it, which I'm horrible with usually. And I kept catching them anyway. And Jen Wong was there. Jen Wong was pounding on them. It was awesome. It's a great day.
It was the Toggy Time jigs you stole from me. They're magical.
Yellow Dog Paddle, Chuck Manny's screaming for you right now in the chat room looking for a yellow perch.
I told you his pants got smaller.
But yeah, the black fishing was really good the day before opening day. It was cool to get out there. We let them all go, obviously. But yeah, really fun to catch. Thank you so much, Ty Man, for going togging. Hopefully we do it again very soon. We still have crabs left at the dock.
Got a lot of crabs.
Got a lot of bait left. Got to go, Chuck. All right. We are going to leave for 1 second here to go get PalMarius Rods. All right, so we are back. We have tonight Dan Harley, owner of PalMarius Rods since 2009. Dan, welcome to the NJ Multi-Species Podcast.
Thank you, guys. A pleasure. I appreciate you having me on.
I was just telling people I didn't even know. I had no idea about PalMarius Rods at all until you reached out to us and offered to donate one to our gambler trip.
Yes,
which was awesome. Which thank you for. It was a great prize, and
my pleasure.
But yeah, that's the first time I met you, and now know about PalMarius. So it's cool to actually finally have you here.
I appreciate the opportunity. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I almost bought one of your rods a couple of years ago, and I can't remember exactly, but someone recommended it for what I was looking for, and I don't even remember what I was looking for. But I remember looking into it and thinking how nice they were, and I ended up not even getting a rod for whatever specific thing I wanted at that moment. But I had heard of you guys, but we're glad you're here to kind of explain more about your company, because you make a lot more than rods, it looks like. Or
Yes, yes. I didn't start in the business with the intent of building rods, Chris, but I do appreciate the candor there. The company actually originally was started with real simple stuff, basically casting jigs, bucktails for fluke, and eventually diamond jigs for everything else. And that basically got me into the tackle business, and we grew from those two items on out into plastics and storage products and later rods.
What I'm always curious about this, like when you start in one direction and then kind of expand like to everything else. Like what makes, so you start making bucktail jigs, Jay, just for this specific example, right? And obviously there's a lot of other bucktail jigs already on the market. What makes you think, well is there some kind of, not problem, but something that you can improve on in the jigs that you're seeing in the store, and so you start making that, or you just think you could make a slightly different product or a slightly better product? Like what drives you to even start doing that?
Actually, when I started the business, I was living down in Cape May, and I was working pretty much full time in Local 98 as a IBW technical worker, fiber optic cabling, Ethernet cabling, this and that. And I always loved to fish. So every weekend I was down in Cape May fishing, losing 12 Spro bucktails, 18 Spro bucktails. It started to get a little bit expensive. And I had access to free lead because being in the electricians union, we came into a lot of copper scrap over the years. I would drop the copper scrap off at scrap yards. They would save me lead. And often I would trade them the copper for the lead. So I kind of had an endless supply of high quality lead. So I started basically casting my own bucktails, really just for me, eventually for very close friends. And it kind of scaled from there. And before I know it, kind of turned into a business. I couldn't cast enough of them in my shed. So eventually I looked for an offshore manufacturer. And that's really how the company got its scale, and it's, was able to grow.
Only to an angler is lead more valuable than copper.
Exactly.
It's like
right.
One of the most difficult industries now to get into too. It's not easy to break into this market. You have to sell the product. You have to get a following. It's very tough. Most of the newer companies that pop up, you see them disappear fairly quickly. And you seem very good at adapting.
Yeah, I mean, when we kind of got our legs and it grew a little bit at each year, going to flea markets, selling them, across the table to anglers, eventually opening up an eBay store and an Amazon store. We got the scale. But yes, it is super competitive, especially around the New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania area. There's, a load of guys, making all types of jigs, from tog jigs, bucktail jigs, diamond jigs. Just in this area, there's a rich history from basically Point Jude, Rhode Island, all the way down through Montauk of small tackle manufacturers. Some of them had longer runs than others, and like you said, it's a tough business. Some of them just didn't survive.
And a lot of anglers get very attached to their specific, whatever brand it is for whatever jig or lure that they like. They get very attached to it, from a personal level.
Yeah, people are really passionate about which brands they support. For sure. I have noticed that. And I think in general, we as a country is we're very brand centric, unless as, Shimano or Daiwa or St. Croix or something like that. I think we all have that hesitancy that, is it going to work for me? Is it going to, be fruitful, or yet another tackle investment that didn't pan out, going to the bottom of the tackle drawer?
Hey, I've bought new big name brand type stuff that has quite honestly sucked balls sometimes. I mean, just really sucked. So it's not like you can't buy a Rapala or a Shimano of something and it's guaranteed to be great. I mean, they do sometimes drop the ball.
Yeah, no, that's very true. I mean, my earliest, memories of, kind of fishing and shooting with my grandfather was, anything he would buy and present to me on a Friday, if it made it to Saturday or Sunday, it was pretty remarkable. When I was growing up, I guess, dating myself a little bit here, like 70s, early 80s, you had a lot of stuff coming in from offshore. It was typically you would go to Kmart, to buy your, Crossman BBs or your CO2 cartridges or your, jig heads, sinkers, whatever. And yes, the quality was often, simply not there. So, one of the things that I learned in this business, and I've been fortunate enough to fish with some really interesting guys that, in industry were able to give me a lot of good feedback. One of my best friends, Captain Howard, is a metallurgist by trade. And, I remember early in the business getting some hook samples from overseas, sending him the samples. He cut them in half, put them under an electron microscope, and took screenshots for me. And he said, "Don't ever use these hooks." He said, "You're gonna make more enemies than friends." And I learned, very, very quickly, where to use offshore manufacturing to leverage the labor, but not necessarily rely on them for the raw materials. So I think one of the reasons my jigs and lures have been successful and we've been able to endure, 10, 15 years now is I've always spent the extra money to get the Gamakatsu hook or the VMC hook or the Mustad hook, even if that meant buying it myself and sending it to my manufacturer overseas, make it easy for them to put the hook that I want into their mold. Lead is largely lead, and perform the casting. But yes, the heart of a bucktail jig or a tog jig is obviously the hook. And if you don't, cast on a quality hook, you're going to have problems sooner or later.
Now, when you make that decision back in the beginning where you're going to go with an overseas manufacturer, you said from your shed, do you now go over there to see so you have to now go over there to see what's going to go on?
Yeah, one of the interesting things about the business, and it was, largely the same in the electrical and data cabling business. When you were sitting across the table from someone that was a tradesman that had maybe, been in the trades all his life, it was just so much easier to communicate for a project to be successful. And it's kind of the same in fishing. What you find in this industry, and it is very much a global industry, is there are a lot of people that just don't fish. That are in this business. They're business people. They're bean counters, or they're salespeople, or they're marketing people. And whether they're marketing a bucktail or a kayak or a hat, it doesn't resonate with them. They don't have the context that of how strong a bluefin is, or how tough a bluefish's mouth is, or how delicate a fluke bite might be. There's a huge disconnect. So one of the big drivers of me going over there and pressing flesh with the manufacturer is to try to find people that actually fish. It makes the whole transaction so much smoother. You get better results, less disappointment, less frustration if you can actually do business with people that have a shared passion and shared experience in fishing. So that's one of the reasons I go. I also go because I'm interested in driving quality. I come from a family of importers. My father-in-law was a second-generation importer bringing in Christmas lights, and I learned quite a bit from him. And he always said to me, "Dan," he said, the first order you get from any factory is going to be the best order you ever get from them. And the second order will be pretty good. And the third order, be prepared to grab your ankles." And he would say that all the time. I mean, he couldn't say it enough. And it was very, very true. If you get complacent and lazy in controlling your vendors and your supply chain, they will take advantage of that opportunity. Because in the lead business and the jig business, the casting goes very, very quickly. They now have metal injection molding where they heat the lead into a slurry and they pump it into a machine that literally pumps it into the mold. It's not some guy sitting there with a ladle anymore. It's what they call injection molded lead. So they can literally mold thousands of jigs a day. And once the jigs are molded and cast and they're sitting there, the factory kind of wants to get some money. So what I found is a lot of factories will rush the painting process. If the casting process is, let's say, largely the same factory A, B, C, where the difference is how much time are they willing to spend doing the coating? Are they going to let it air dry, or are they going to heat dry it? Are they going to let the epoxy cure naturally, or are they going to try to, move it along a little faster? So that's another reason I go, is that as I learn more idiosyncrasies of the business, I understand how critical some of these steps are and how I really need to keep those different vendors, honest and keep their feet to the fire. If they know I'm coming, and I say, listen, when is this being run? And they tell me, and I say, well, 5 days in, I'm showing up. I feel that the quality, that I can drive better quality because they know I'm picky. They know I fish. They know I'm going to come and take the jig, drop it on their concrete floor. And if the paint flakes off, we're going to have a big problem. Yeah. So that's one of the reasons I go.
Now, I've seen some videos recently, and some of the stuff I don't even know what it is. Like I see you guys sell the batteries for the electric reel. I've never even used one of those reels. I don't know much about them, but that seems to be a big thing that we don't even know much about. Maybe
overseas there's been for years, I think, a pretty big deep drop electric reel fishery where these guys go out for multi-day trips. And they are fishing day and night, very, very deep, 800 feet, 1,200 feet, 1,400 feet, even 1,600 feet deep. To do that on a multi-day trip, you really need an electric reel. In the southern part of the country, mainly in Florida, I think that has slowly been developing. Boats like the Yankee Caps, American Patriot, Captain Uri, they have cultivated this whole Pulley Ridge fishery, which is, south of Key West, and it's very deep. And you can get all types of exotic fish, from queen snapper to different groupers and, things that we're just not accustomed to seeing. Just, these very cool looking fish that are always very good to eat, the deep water, cold water type fish. So I think that's driving part of it. People want to catch those fish.
Yeah, and I can't see the chat. Joe there's got to be people in there saying, "Oh, if you use an electric reel, you're a pussy," blah blah, right?
Not yet, but I'm
nobody
sure it's
said
it. It's on a little delay.
You hear it all the time.
There's definitely that conversation going on. I think that the 30 and 40, something crowd, listen, we were all there. I don't know how old you guys are. I'm actually looking at 60 at this point.
I just turned 18.
There you go. Yeah, you look marvelous.
Thank you. No, but what I was going to say is, when I hear people saying like this, they don't understand, right? Like, if you're fishing that deep, okay, you're not necessarily going to use the electrical reel to fight every fish the whole time. A lot of these fish, all the fight comes in the first, I don't know, call it whatever you want, call it the first 50 feet, whatever it is.
Yeah, that's
a lot of the
challenge.
fight of the fish comes off that bottom. Once you get them up a certain way, it's now just dead weight. There's no more like fighting the fish. So a lot of guys will fight the fish, whatever it is, whatever it may be, till the fish becomes dead weight, and then just use the electric reel for that. The other thing is, a lot of times when you're fishing that deep, man, and I do tile fishing sometimes. And that's only like, I don't know, 400 to 600 feet. And even that, you're talking about, I think you mentioned 1,200 feet. Like I couldn't even imagine. But even at 400 feet, say, right, you get all that bait on there, you drop it down, all of a sudden, and this even you have 3 hooks baited. You think you feel, oh, was that a hit? I think I might have got hit. Oh, there's another hit. I think I got hit again. Still no fish on there. You feel that third hit, and then all of a sudden you're not getting hit anymore. Now you're like, oh, my bait's gone. If you keep getting the bait cleaned out or thinking you're getting the bait cleaned out, and you got to manually reel that back up to rebait it over and over again, like, I don't care who you are, you're going to get tired.
Yeah,
well,
you're going to get exhausted. It's funny you mentioned that, Chris. If you go to Daiwa's, the Daiwa Japan website, and you flick it over to English and read about these electric reels, that's exactly how they're marketing them. Not so much as I'm tired, I'm lazy, I can't do it from a strength standpoint. It's more of like being effective. And they talk about people's reluctance to reset. So in other words, you're tile fishing. Maybe tilefish is not the best example because tilefish do like a little bit of scope, I find, in the line. But let's say grouper fishing, or snapper fishing, where you want to be straight up and down on top of that fish. And as the boat drifts and you develop more and more scope, I mean, we've all been there. It's like, well, 600 feet, should I give it another 30 seconds? Whereas with an electric reel, there's not even any hesitation in my mind. If as soon as I think once I might be scoped out too much, boom, I put it in gear, I come up, I redrop, so I can be straight up and down and I can be more effective. And yes, very, very much fight that fish for the first 50 feet. And once he's tight and he's out of structure, slowly engage the power retrieve, bring him up to maybe 25 feet from the surface, 30 feet from the surface, fight him the rest of the way to the boat, to the gaff, and then, be able to redrop. So
it's like the difference between you're going out fishing and you think you're, oh, I'm a tough guy, I don't need an electric reel. You might only be able to catch, I don't know, say 5 or 6 of these fish from that depth before you get tired, you need a break. Why not, if you had an electric reel and you just paced yourself a little bit more, like you used it to pace yourself, now you could fight and catch double the amount of fish. Just, what I mean? It's just kind of another tool.
It definitely increases your opportunities. And, where these are really going, I mean, from a sales standpoint, like where we're sending these reels is largely the South. So it's like Texas, Louisiana, and Florida. I've been down there fishing in the summer, standing out in that heat, literally thinking I'm going to pass out and just go head first into the water. It's that hot. It's like Panama hot, maybe even hotter than that. So there is that aspect as well that, like, hey, when you're fishing in Florida in June, July into August and it's 95 degrees out, you're probably going to you're going to have less endurance than you do up here in the Northeast when it's 70 degrees out, for sure.
Oh yeah. The air down there, when it's like the heat that they have is like what you call humid up here in New Jersey. You have no idea. Like down there, me and my buddies were down in Texas in the summer fishing for alligator gar, like on this stagnant river, like with no breeze. And you're trying to breathe and there's just like there's no oxygen in the air when you take a breath. And like I remember the guide was, I knew it wasn't just us, because the guide actually started complaining before us. He's like, you guys got to be struggling, like I'm struggling. And we're like, yeah, I mean, it's getting there. And we were hiding under a tree on the side of the river there, and there was like snakes in the tree, like right next to us. So like, we don't care, we need the shade, fuck those snakes, let them bite us. Like we needed the shade of like that tree because there was nothing there. But yeah, that heat, I mean, no, so I don't know. I don't like the stigma that the electrical reels have. Like I don't have one. I don't really have a use for one really, but
well, I don't like it's not fully autopilot. You still have to earn the fish.
Yeah, I think guys who don't have any idea what they are, they hear electric reel, they see this thing that you plug in to charge, and they think that guys are just like drop it down there.
Lazy.
Oh, there's a fish.
Yeah.
Set the hook, hit a button, and then just go like have a beer and wait for the fish to pop up.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned that. I was invited to fish on the Gulf Star this summer, and I went down to Tarpon Springs, and I went out with those guys, and it's really interesting. Like people do judge and categories like that, and I have to say there were all types of electric reel fishermen, from guys that put the rod in the rod holder and only fish with the button, to guys that literally held the thing like it was a rifle, and even with a Seaborg 800 on it, or a Megatwin 800 or 1200, they literally were at the rail on their game, ready to lift on that fish. And again, going to some guys that were older and just push button type fishermen. So I think that it runs the gamut, and you can be as active and engaged with an electric as a manual reel. Like you said, use it when you need it and don't use it when you don't need to use it.
What's like the price range on like an entry level electric reel? Like, I don't even have a clue.
I would say that's a great question. I would say like an entire combo, because it really works. Everything works together as a system. So if you didn't have anything at all and you needed to buy the reel, the battery, the line, which is super important, and let's say some type of entry level rod, you could probably get it done for $1,200 or $1,300.
Wow, it's that much money.
Yeah, they're not cheap. Now, if you already had a rod and you just needed to get a reel and a battery, you could get that done for under $1,000.
Is there something about the rod that's different on the electric reel, or is it
Yeah,
the same?
I mean, the electric reels can put out quite a bit of torque. Even the palm-sized ones will put out. They rate it in two different ways: constant pressure, momentary pressure. So the momentary pressure is like a surge, when the fish runs. And some of those, even the palm-sized reels, approach 70 pounds of pressure. So generally, you're talking about different guide trains, double-footed guides, no single-footed guides. If you were to have a guide get wrapped and you engage the electric, you can rip the thing right off the rod. So generally, the guide train is a little bit different. Perhaps the rod is less parabolic. Although guys put these reels, they buy the reels from us and they put them on our slow pitch rods every day and fish them just like that.
You said the line is different too?
It's not different, but the line is more important than many people think. They often think of the line at the very, very end of the conversation. It's kind of like, the vegetable on the plate that no one wants to eat almost. The line is super important. When you have 600 feet of depth, maybe you have 800, 850, 900 feet of line with scope in the water, and you do that calculation of the diameter of the line, how fast you're going, how fast the current's going, it actually adds up to quite a bit of drag. I'm not a mathematician, but I can tell you that the larger the diameter of the line, the less you'll feel and the more weight you'll need to hold bottom. Right. So it's a continuing negotiation with customers to get them to trust us and to get them to go lighter than they have. I don't want to say like lighter than they've ever gone before, but what in electric reel fishing and deep drop fishing, the lighter you go, the more bites you will get. Of course, the lighter you go, the more risk you have of breaking off a good fish, but you will get bit a lot more with lighter line, lighter leader. It has better action in the water. You don't have to fish as heavy a jig, which has better action in the water. I misspoke. It's not the line that has action. The jig has action. And if I can get a 400-gram jig down tile fishing, and you need a 600-gram jig to get down because maybe you are fishing 50-pound braid or 60-pound braid, and I'm fishing 20 or 30, I will get more bites than you. And if I play the fish correctly, I can handle pretty big sized tile fish and pull them out of the mud, even with 20, 25, 30-pound braid.
Yeah, it's like the angler's tango. You're like, I want use a little bit of lighter line. I don't want to break the fish off. Like, where do I Where do I land on that? And yeah, I remember.
Well, I would imagine the scoping's got to be crazy. That with that kind of depth, the scoping's nuts. So the thicker the line, I could see it getting dragged like hell.
Even Joe, even the bait, right? Like if you want to use a bigger bait, like you'd imagine like that's all more drag, like on the bottom, like versus a smaller piece of bait, like it'll pull it out. I mean, you see it even tog fishing in 80 feet of water. You put a whole crab on there, you're going to need more weight if you weren't already using that more weight. You know what I mean? Like there's just more drag on it. I re-spooled one of my reels, just completely filled it. I took all the 50-pound braid off of it, and I refilled it with 30-pound braid. You could fit more line on it for deeper for the tile fish, and it just made a massive difference. And the difference between 50-pound braid and 30-pound braid, as far as like the diameter wise, it's like, I mean, you can tell when you look at it, but not by much. I mean, what are we talking, like fraction of a millimeter? You know what I mean? And it makes, when you're that deep, when you're 500 feet deep, it makes a very noticeable difference. Like, I don't know how else to say it.
Yeah, and the slickness of the coating can make a difference. But I mean, I agree with Chris. I mean, even when we fish up in Nantucket for like deep water fluke, and we're doing 100 feet to, let's say, 110, 120 feet max, even up there, you know, I'm fishing a 4 ounce. The guy next to me is fishing a 6 or an 8, and he'll often say to me, "How are you holding bottom with a 4 ounce and 100 feet of water?" Well, I'm fishing 16-pound, very high quality, you know, Japanese braid with a very slick coating on it that cuts through the water, you know, and it doesn't create as much turbulence. You know, when you drag a piece of line through the water like this, there's actually turbulence behind that line. I was not an A student in math, so I can't really explain the calculation, but brighter people than me have figured out that as that line goes and it's essentially slicing through the water, behind that is turbulence, just like in a plane or in a car or anything else cutting through, you know, air or water.
Yeah.
There's turbulence behind it. So there's a whole big debate. You know, years ago, people used to say, well, you need 16 strands in the braid, and that's ideal. And then people gravitated towards 8 strands. And for many years, that was ideal. Now people are it's come full circle, and we're back to where it started, which was 4 strands. The industry really started with 4, it went to 8, went to 12, went to 16, and now it's come back to 4. And a lot of people really are espousing the virtues of 4-strand braid, which is basically the fibers are bigger. If you have 20-pound 8-strand and 20-pound 4-strand, the 4-strand, the fibers are twice as thick, so they're more abrasive, resistant to rocks and stuff like that. It's also less expensive. The downside tends to be a little bit rougher, tends to make a little bit more noise in the guides, especially when you're fishing electric reels and you're pulling in, you know, line at high speed. That noise can, you know, get a little disconcerting sometimes.
Does that transfers, like that's noise in the water too, or that's just something
they say it's air? Hear? They say it's air trapped in the braid.
Okay.
But if you ran, if you had the same rod, same reel, and you were fishing 4X and I'm fishing an 8X, you know, everything being the same, the 4X product is noticeably noisier going through the guides.
Really? And the line diameter is what, about the same, or it's
no? I mean, just talking about noise. If I was fishing a 20-pound test 8X braid, and Joe was fishing 16 and you were fishing 4, as you get less fibers, it gets noisier. Some people say it's air trapped in there and it's the noise of it going over your guide, forcing the air out. I'm not really sure.
I'm saying, well, like, why did they go back to the 4? Just because it's
more abrasion resistance.
More abrasive resistance, and it's less expensive to make.
It's less expensive to make. There's also, again, that school of thought that as you're pulling through the water with the piece of line under tension, that turbulence behind the line is less with a 4 than an 8. And again, I listened to a podcast by the Shimano Pro staffer, Benny Ortiz. He talks about it in a little bit more detail, and he has a deeper understanding than I do. He probably read the original paper of whoever put out this study of, hey, this is what we found doing tank testing or some type of scientific testing. So it supposedly cutting through the water better abrasion resistance. I would say it being less expensive is a distant third.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's interesting. Yeah, because like when it comes to line, I'm just kind of like braided line in particular. I know you don't have a ton of options when you go into like the local tackle shop.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time, you don't have a ton of options. You maybe got your choice of like, I'd say maybe 3 brands at most at a lot of the small local tackle shops that we use. And so they always have Power Pro. I've never really had a big issue with Power Pro. Like it's always done me right. So I kind of go in there, I buy it, I need whatever pound Power Pro, I buy it. And I think a lot of guys are the same way. Like that's what they see. That's what they've used.
Yeah. That's what we've all grown up with here in the States because, they've just done such a good job of, marketing and distributing it. And as you said, it's available. And I think it's that type of thing where I almost equate it to gas. If you're going to buy a high-end sports car, you probably don't want to put regular in it. And if you go to a gas station and you leave and your car knocks and it's just not running right, you're probably not going to go back to that gas station again. I think it's the same type of thing with the braid. If it gets it done and you're not breaking off fish, why change it? But again, when you're spending $1,200, $1,300, maybe even $2,000 on one of these high-end jigging outfits, you really want the whole system to be paired well, and you don't want to have a $700 reel filled with $40 braid because why? Again, the braid is so important. It makes such a difference when you have 600, 700, 800 feet of it in the water. You just want the best of everything. So a lot of people have, researched it. There's brands out there like there's a Japanese company called Sunline. They're imported into the States by Sunline America. They pretty much own the Bassmasters Tour. If you're into bass fishing, their Sniper FC is like the #1 rated line for bass fishing in the high-end tournament scene. So you have Sunline, but here on the East Coast, you really don't find it in any stores. I mean, we sell it, but you don't find it at the big name stores. You're not going to find it at Bass Pro or Cabela's or anything like that. You really have to seek it out, type of thing.
This is like it's like the politics of like the marketing of like fishing stuff almost. Like you're not necessarily
good
going to
online.
Yeah,
good online question. So asking Dan, in the United States, the states that do not sell lead, do they allow you to ship your jigs to those states?
That's a great question. I mean, I don't think that there is an actual outright ban on fishing lead just yet. I know California has a proposition.
No, it's not. It's not banned to use fishing, but it's banned to purchase. Like in the state in New York, you can't.
Well, no, I think it's they can't. Well, the shops can't sell it.
Oh, but they could order it off the internet.
Well, not a shop, but like a resident. That's your question, right? I don't know the answer. Like, can a resident of so in New York, just to clarify, in New York, as the example here, the shops cannot sell lead split shot or I guess lead anything they can't sell. I'm not 100% sure, but 100% they can't sell lead split shot. And like for salmon season, the guys, you need split shot because you got to drift the bottom.
Right.
And so I guess to simplify the question, can like a manufacturer, can a resident in New York purchase lead products like lead split shot and jigs and have it shipped to them? That I don't know.
That's a great question, and I probably really need to educate myself a little bit more on, what kind of legislation on in a neighboring state to us for sure. I need to be more educated there. From what I vaguely remember, the law, as you said, was split shot centric, things that could be swallowed. I mean, the jigs that I'm selling and shipping, a salmon can't swallow it, and a duck certainly can't swallow it. So I don't know that there's an exemption for something of a certain size.
Yeah, I mean, the shops in New York State have lead other stuff, just not
spoons,
split
right?
shot and
like the
bottom.
spoons must be lead, I would think.
I feel like the rule is only for like split shots and like egg sinkers.
We need to find someone from New York to answer this question.
If anyone's watching, it's definitely a great question. I mean, personally, like here in our business, we don't sell split shot or sinkers or anything like that. We do sell lead jigs, and we do sell bucktails. But
now, I wanted to ask too, that jig.
Wait, hold on, real quick. So you ship the jigs all over the country, right?
Yep, we ship them all over the world.
You get no like notifications or like, oh, make sure. So I don't think there's any rule about.
So that answers.
Well, we are ASA members. I'm a member of the American Sport Fishing Association, and we have a great dialogue with them. And we have a guy named Mike Leonard, who is like the policy advocate for the American Sport Fishing Association. Now that he's less busy waging tariff wars on our behalf, I will definitely email him, because it's a great question, and he's a great resource, and we basically pay for that resource every year by paying our ASA dues. So that would be a way that I could research it and get back to you guys with some information. Mike loves to share links and educate people. So I think it's definitely something that as a small business, I need to be familiar with. And, if people are going up and fishing for salmon, they probably need to make sure that they're in compliance as well, because I'm sure, the game wardens will be checking.
It's really weird, though, because we could bring the lead split shot up with us and use it, right? So
as soon as a local sees your Jersey license plate, they're asking if you got extra lead on you right away. Usually, oh yeah, it's like a commodity up there. I wanted that jig that you were just holding up. There's like a new craze, I guess, to get the like carrier that holds those things, and I saw you guys are 3D printing them, like they come out of it.
Yeah.
So I 3D printing's fairly like a new thing, but I guess now in the fishing industry, it's becoming. Yeah, see, like that. I saw the video where that you just made.
Yeah, this is actually really, really cool. This is 100% 3D printed right here in Pennsylvania.
That's cool.
And what I find so fascinating is even the buckles. We designed our own buckle. We bought some buckles off Amazon, and they were just cheap, made in China. Not very confidence-inspiring buckles. So we said, why don't we just make one twice as thick ourselves? And about 35 minutes later, we were printing them out, and they're super strong. We tested them. It's really amazing. We have a friend in the business who's making a knot tool. This is Chad's knot tool. This is for making a special connection called an AG chain knot, where you put your jig or your hook, your eyelet here, and you wrap your leader here, and you go up making half hitches. It makes something called an AG chain knot. This is all 3D printed as well. So yes, there's lots of interesting stuff coming down the pike, I feel, with 3D printing. And I've always had a bit of a storage fascination. So I think one of the things that our company has become known for is, pretty innovative ways to store your gear, transport the gear, be more organized on the boat, so you can make, the most of the few hours that you have, or the few hours each day that the fish are, really actively feeding.
Oh yeah. I should take that advice. I feel like I try to organize things, and then the next thing I know, it's like, well, I need this for that and this, so I'll put half of them here, half of them there. Then they get lost, and I buy more, then I find the other ones.
Yeah, exactly.
all
I
into
think we all do that. I think every fisherman owns 3 or 4 sets of everything. I really tend to cater to people that travel. I was always a traveler. I kind of got the travel bug from my parents and grandparents. They were like big travelers. So, when you constantly have to pack this stuff up and unpack it and repack it and move around, especially going, getting on a plane, it really becomes super important that you can find things, and with the luggage restrictions, that you're only taking what you need and you're not taking 3 of everything. So yeah, I feel you there.
I'm not a traveler, but for fishing, I travel. Like that's what can get me to travel, and I do it for that. That's about it.
I love storage stuff. I'm a junkie for like buying boxes and shit that I don't need.
He's like a collector.
Yeah, I have 28 backpacks, and there's like nothing in any of them.
He has storage containers that hold his storage container collection.
Yeah, I'll admit it, I've always had a little bit of a bag, I guess you could call it a bag fetish, not necessarily a handbag fetish, but yeah, fishing bag.
Dan's got a closet full of women's purses that he rubs.
Don't tell anyone, that was the deal.
Hold on, what is this now?
So this is, we call this a jig card. So I have a bag, which is a soft-sided bag. And what's interesting, and what my concept was, these bags were getting really, really heavy, like 40, 50, 60 pounds of lead heavy. So I said to myself, why do I have to take every jig I own on every single trip? If I'm going for tile fish, I don't need my striper jigs. If I'm going striper fishing, I don't need my 24-ounce tile fish jigs. So what we did was we came up with these cards, and the cards have loops, and they have flaps. Okay, so the vertical jigs go in, and the really long, giant tile fish jigs go on the back. And basically, there are different cards for different, I wouldn't want to say species, but weight of jigs. So like this would be your card for probably 500-gram jigs to 800-gram or 1,000-gram jigs. Whereas this card, you can see it's physically smaller. This is for sea bass size jigs and striper jigs.
I want that one.
Dan,
I want it.
Dan, you know what? This is the equivalent of like selling flavored cigarettes to kids. Like Joe's gonna
it even comes in 4 colors. Exactly.
Yeah, he's gonna buy the jig sleeves, right? And then he's gonna be like, well, I don't have enough jigs to fill all the holes, and now I gotta buy, and he's just gonna go broke buying jigs.
I just imagine
it's all carefully engineered to separate you from your money. Yes.
I imagine that thing fully filled with golden sea bass jigs and diamond jigs in one card. Right. I want it. I'm sold.
That's very. I mean, it's so simple, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's a simple idea. I mean, I'm not the first to have an idea like this. Years and years ago, there was a Japanese company called Shout, spelled just like that, Shout with an exclamation point. And Japanese company, they had a bag, something like this, not exactly, a little bit smaller, crazy expensive, only available in Japan. And some people would import it and find different ways to get it here. So I kind of like that concept, and just, took it a couple of steps forward with, giving people 4 different cards so we could, a really wide range of species. And,
So cool.
People break things. So, I told you.
My wife just commented into the thread and said, stop showing him stuff.
Right. Well, she takes your wallet every weekend, I heard, right? Well, hopefully when we see each other this winter at some of the shows, I can let you guys put hands on these bags in person. They are really neat.
Yeah, that is cool. We would definitely use that kind of thing.
That is cool.
And the 3D printed stuff is definitely something worth, talking about for the future. It just has a lot of potential.
I watched that video. If you go to PalMarius Facebook page, you could find that video of that thing actually coming out of the printer. That's how I saw it, and it was really cool. It's
The time
unbelievable
lapse.
how it's just done. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
crazy.
the time lapse. Yeah, it's crazy how it just grows. Yeah.
It just grows, and there it is, the product. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Dan, I have to thank you so much for taking the time to
Yeah,
come on here and
absolutely,
talk to us.
guys.
For anyone that's watching, where is the best place to go to find your products and you?
Yeah, so really the best place to find us would probably be our website at www.palmariusrods.com. We try to be really present on social media, so we maintain a Facebook page, which is PalMarius Fishing Tackle. We also have our own Facebook group called PalMarius Outdoors, where fans of the products can kind of get together and talk about how they use them and things like that. And then we also do have an Instagram page at PalMarius_rods. So probably any of those methods will get them to us.
And you have a physical shop or no?
No, we're not really a retailer. We have a office warehouse location. We're in Morrisville, PA. We really don't have facilities for people to browse per se, but customers are more than welcome to pick up orders. We're here from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., 5 days a week. And on the website, when they order something, they can select pickup. So if you select pickup, it won't charge any shipping, and that will let us know to basically pull the order, put it in the front for you guys to come by and collect it.
And you guys have a very elaborate setup at the outdoor shows too. It's very nice, and there's a ton of shit to look at.
Yeah, thank you. If any of the guys or any fans of the page are going to be at any of the fishing shows this winter, we will be participating in the Oak Show. Is really the first one. I think that's the weekend of January 8th. From there, we'll be out on Long Island at the Ward Melville Show, which is March 8th, 9th this year, followed by the Big Edison Show, which is at the Edison Convention Center, right near Harold's Deli. Most people, if you say Harold's Deli,
that's the one that's where I
met. That's where we met. Yeah.
I'll be at that one again.
That's kind of the best show in this area, just in terms of display. We have a really great spot there. We're right on the main aisle, and we really spend a lot of energy making sure we get everything to that show. So yes, that is a great way for people to come, to meet me, to meet the other staffers, Kyle, Gary. Everybody else can help you bend rods, put you in a package that will work for deep water fish, shallow water fish, etc.
And I can't thank you enough. And
I appreciate the opportunity, Chris.
Again,
Joe,
it was
thank
awesome
you.
Talking to you. Hopefully, we'll have you back on here, and I will see you at the show for sure.
Yep, and maybe we'll get out and we'll still get on some of this bass bite together. I know it's going off like crazy. Today was the day to go. Actually,
that'd be great.
I heard it was really good today. So.
Yeah, we were out the other day. It was all right, but you could tell, like, you knew it was going to be better the next day or the 2 days after the whenever it stopped blowing. Which
exactly, yeah, it was sporty out, but I'm sure the fish are hungry and they're still waiting for us out there.
That would be awesome. Yeah. All right, we'll set that up. Dan, thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate the opportunity. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah. Absolutely. Thanks, you're welcome back anytime. Anytime you invent a new product, build a new product. Just
we're always working. Always working on new stuff. Absolutely.
Yeah, give us a shout.
I will. Thanks, guys.
On, talk about it.
Thank you.
Sounds good. I will. Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, later, Dan.
See you guys.
Yeah, so a lot of innovative stuff from PalMarius. I did see his stand at the saltwater show when I first met him. Like I said, it's a very elaborate stand. He has tons of different rods for all kinds of species, and you can see all the other stuff he makes in the background. There are tons of jigs, real high quality stuff. Uses good hooks, good paint. It's higher end stuff too. It's not. I guess I would call upper middle end to high end. It's very nice stuff. They don't make $50 rods, but I have seen him. He'll post stuff where like he bought too many and he's just selling them to get rid of them. You know, like because he just bought too many. I've seen him do that. So yeah, follow PalMarius. They're a pretty cool company.
Yeah, and I don't know about you, but like I love to hear when guys come on that make stuff, like when we had Eddie from Toggy Time Jigs on, like talking about how he's making the jigs and like testing the hooks and like all this stuff. Like I love to hear that. Just like Dan was like had the story about how he had his buddy like cut the hook in half and like inspect it under a microscope. It's like, nah, don't use these, like shit that you would never think about, right? Like you could catch 10 fish on it, nothing's wrong, and then all of a sudden, like the 11th fish is like that fish, and you lose it, and it comes back, and the hook's fucking snapped in half. Like you're never buying that hook again.
I'm surprised he hasn't made a braid yet. I think we're gonna see a PalMarius braid come out. He's gonna make his own line eventually.
And you can tell he ain't just gonna do it. He's gonna
he's gonna do it. Like when that guy says he's gonna do it, he figures out how to do it.
Like the best way that he can think of.
Yeah. Really innovative. I like that. And if my wife's watching, I want one of those cards for all my sea bass jigs. I need that.
She already told him to stop showing you shit.
She did comment, said, please no more stuff in the chat here. So she is watching this. Damn it.
She's watching it to try to stop you from spending more money.
I did the Signal 11 podcast, Steve Ciasulo. That was pretty cool. Chuck Manny loved it for some reason. I don't know why, but Chuck raved about it.
I thought Steve was great.
Steve was good. Yeah. I was horrible. I don't know. It was weird too. I was like nervous being on there. Like I'm on episode 128 here and I could give a shit. And then I'm over on Steve's. I'm like nervous. Like, I'm like, why am I nervous?
I think here you feel safe because I won't let you go too far off the rails. But when you're allowed to just go off on your own, were you nervous that you just start talking about shit that you shouldn't be talking about?
Yeah, I guess so. I was nervous. I would think eventually you're going to do it too, and we're going to see we'll see if you're nervous when you do it. He just commented he loves your hat.
Whatever the date is. I feel like I'm fishing.
Steve just commented he loves your hat.
Oh yeah, Signal 11 hat. Since I got hunting once. It was a complete and total failure. I got to share this video, by the way. So I was hunting my parents' property, and the neighbor was doing like a new neighbor moved in on the one side, and they were doing construction. They put up a fence, and they were doing something in the woods. They were making trails or something with machines. And so obviously, like I wasn't going to hunt back there while they were doing that. I was waiting, and the trail cam showed a lot of deer coming through in the afternoon. I asked my dad if they were doing work that afternoon, and they were. So I was like, oh, the deer don't care. So I went there to hunt, and my dad said, oh, I talked to the guy. They're not going to be using the machines in the woods after 1, 2 o'clock. I'm like, oh, perfect. So I go back there. I'm sitting in the tree stand, and the fucking guy comes down with the backhoe and just starts plowing trees down like 40 yards from me. I'm like, dude, if this guy starts driving, he wasn't going to come onto like the wrong property and start knocking down trees. But I was like, dude, like, come on, man. Like I took video of it. I'm like, yeah, this is what you want to see while you're sitting like the last hour of shooting light, like a fucking backhoe.
And you're like sitting there knowing that like you got a good shot always in that last hour. And then when something happens that just takes the confidence away, you're just dead. Like you just want to go home instantaneously. It's horrible.
But I stayed because my cam showed all those deer there with the machines working the day before. So I was like, oh, maybe they won't care, as the guy's like knocking trees down like right next to me. I'm like, oh God.
That property though, for whatever reason it may be, those deer are so hard to pattern. It's like they do something different by like the right amount of time every day. It's just bizarre. I don't know.
I swear they're smarter than all other deer, and they
are smart.
I'm fucking sitting there.
I mean, me and Chris were literally sitting in the tree stand one time, and we saw a buck like stabbing does to not come near us. And then it sent like the 2 bucks like stood back and sent like 2 sacrificial lambs.
Yeah, like the 2 smallest does that like we wouldn't shoot. And like, I was just like, what the hell's happening here?
It seemed like a
evolved?
Jurassic Park moment where these deer had evolved and figured everything out instantly, like Planet of the Apes shit on this one property. It is weird. And then on the weekends, they seem to really disappear. They're just
whatever, dude. I'm just chalking it up to I suck, whatever. I don't care. Like, it's only my 3rd year hunting. I'm allowed to suck. So I'm just going to say I suck, but I'm going to wear the hat just so I feel cool.
Steve said you're next on his podcast. Chris is wearing
you
the
talk
Mackins.
About why I suck?
The Mackins Rippin' Lips shirt. Chris is wearing. Eddie Mackins still doing trips on Lake Apacon. Walleye, hybrid striped bass, and white perch are biting right now. Eddie is in the tree most of his time, but he is still fishing on the lake. Will continue probably through December. So call Mackins Rippin' Lips if you're looking to get out on Lake Apacon.
He's pretty pleasant to fish with, despite the fact that he wishes he was probably hunting.
Yeah, he loves fishing, but he really loves hunting. I mean, he really is die-hard hunting, and it's crazy to even say it because he's die-hard fishing.
Dude, he should come up with. I won't even take credit with this. If he hears this and wants to do it, I won't take any credit for it. He should start like, how they have Chuck Manny mentioned it the other day down in Virginia. They do like a blast and cast. They have guides that you go duck hunting and then you go fishing.
Yeah.
Like it's all in one trip. He should do some kind of like sit with him in a tree, shoot a buck in the morning, and then jump on the boat and go fishing like a combo.
I want to do one of those Florida combos where you like get to shoot an alligator and a boar, like one of those, or
it all sounds awesome.
Go tarpon fishing and shoot a. I've been on hunting trips. I think hunting trips are they're less like pressure than fishing trips. Fishing trips are like more pressure. I don't know why.
On the guide?
Not on you. Like hunting trips are very relaxing. They take care. You get a break in the middle. They're very nice. You get driven right to the stand. It's like really. Oh yeah, you're all hanging at a clubhouse where like usually there's a chef that cooks for you 3 meals a day. It's the best. Fishing trips are like, I'm like fishing all day. I don't even get to sit down and like I don't even eat anything. Like fishing trips are miserable.
Dude, I've gone on some charters and like these are some great captains, right? Like you will have an opportunity to catch some of the greatest fish you'll ever catch in your life, right? But these guys will just verbally abuse you. Like if you can't handle like being yelled at and called a fucking idiot, like you can't go. And then like they apologize after, and like I get it. I don't care. Like you call me a fucking idiot, like in the moment, like it is what it is. But like some people can't handle that.
You would love it. Like you go for a 3-day trip and like they wake you up in the morning. They drive everyone to a separate tree stand. And then they come back and pick you up at a certain time and bring you back, cook a big lunch. Everyone just rests around, eats a huge meal. And then at about 1 or 2, they drive you back to a different tree stand. You sit for the afternoon, and then they bring you back again, and you repeat that for 3 days. You could shoot up to like 6 deer. I did in North Carolina. You'd love it. It's so fun. It's great.
If you like take a shot and miss the deer, they don't like come over and call you a fucking idiot.
They're not happy about that. I mean, because they are working hard to get you shots, and they want to see people leave with deer. So yeah, they won't like that too much. But yeah, it happens. It is what it is. It's definitely a whole nother world from going from Jersey bow hunting, 25-yard shots. Now you're in Carolina shooting 300 yards down just a lane of trees. So it does get much different, but it's a cool experience. If you've never been on a hunting trip, you should go on one. Who is the guest for next week?
Oh man, I didn't look again.
Steve just said he is looking forward to the Christmas party. Signal 11 is coming to the Christmas party this year. Just donated a giveaway basket from Signal 11, so I'm sure you'll see some lip glue at the party. And this time, Steve will actually be there. And like I said, if you are on the list for the Christmas party, try to get paid up. You can go on njfishing.com and see the list. It says paid next to the names who have paid. There is a waiting list of a few people that want to get in. if you don't pay by the 24th, unfortunately, you'll have to get replaced.
And like, just to be clear, like, I mean, I want to make Joe work as hard as possible too, but if there's a bunch of people that haven't paid by like the time you have to pay by, Joe ain't gonna be like calling you to check in to say like just get it done. I mean, it's just
just
annoying.
send it. It's just really annoying. There's PayPal. There's a PayPal and a Zelle listed right on the NJ Fishing stream, and it's very simple.
And I know like Jerry used to collect cash at the door on like, you know, an honor system type thing. We tried that the first year when we helped him bring back the party, and obviously it was bigger. There was more people and stuff. And we tried to do it the same way. And a couple of guys, just fucked us over. So we really can't do it that way.
Yeah. Well, it used to be at a restaurant where, you know, you'd pay, but it's no longer at a restaurant. It's at a catered hall. So, you know, we pay for the party per person by caterer. So when you don't show, yeah, we paid for that. And it's happened. It's happened last year again with certain people. I'm not going to name anyone, Jerry Postorino, but it has happened with certain people that, and we lose the money on that. It's not free. We paid for that shit. So it is what it is, but yeah.
He's donating 2 spots again, so he made up for it.
Yeah, I know, but I love to roast him on here. You know that. What is the who's the guest next week? I'm going on Fishmonger in like 10 days, so he'll have his chance to beat on me.
Yeah, I'll be there too. I'm gonna every time I swing and miss on a blackfish, I'm gonna put my jig back down and wait for the next.
You know what I noticed? Every time I swing and miss on that boat and I turn around, he's staring right at me. He's always looking right at me. He's always looking right at me.
But you know what the best part is?
He saw me miss again.
When you swing and you hit a good one and you bring it up and you look to see if he saw it for like approval, he's not looking.
One time I turned around with a keeper. I just swung a keeper over the rail, and he was looking at me and gave me like a thumbs up. He's like, yeah. And I'm like, fuck yeah, he saw something good for once. So yeah, if you didn't pay for Christmas party, pay for a Christmas party. Who's the guest next week?
The guest next week is Josh from Fish Fever, which is a guide service in PA. He reached out, wanted to come on the show. Those PA fisheries right over the Delaware River always kind of interest me. I don't venture over there too much. A couple times here and there for like the trout fisheries, but I don't know a lot.
I'm going to tell you on that episode next week why I stopped buying a Pennsylvania fishing license.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm kind of interested to hear that, honestly. But
I still buy New York. I no longer do buy Pennsylvania.
I didn't buy it the last 2 seasons just because I knew I wasn't gonna use it. But I don't know. Like I was saying, the other fisheries besides the trout, like obviously the trout fishing is real good, just right over the Delaware River. But the other fisheries, I know next to nothing about. I don't really venture that way. And what I know
some
about
of the shit,
is
some of like the stuff that Kurt Hofig was talking about, like that kind of stuff. I would go get a license and go in there to do that shit. But you need somebody who knows that kind of stuff, I guess. But
there you go.
Yeah, I think
he runs a guide service over there. I don't know what kind of information he's willing to.
Oh, does he really?
Yeah, I just said it. Fish Fever Guide Service.
Oh, well, maybe he does that because I'd love to do what Kurt was talking about. So, yeah, that sounds cool. But, yeah, I basically stopped buying it because it's too far away and it costs too much money. I think their license is too expensive. Their hunting license is too expensive, too, for a non-resident. I think Pennsylvania's up to, $60 or $70 now?
Dude, it's like anything else. If you're going to use it to the amount where it's worth it, then it's worth it. If you're not going to use it enough,
yeah. But I mean, New York has the Great Lakes fisheries, and it's $50. I'm paying New York, Pennsylvania, $70 to do what? Like what? What am I doing there?
Dude, I don't know. Ask him. Maybe you'll find out. Maybe he'll tell
New
you
Jersey's
stuff that makes
better
you
than Pennsylvania, so I'm going to say that.
Oh, there you go. That's what you could title the episode.
There it is. New Jersey is better than PA. You
remember at the beginning when I said I had a big burrito and I didn't know if I could make it through the episode? I need to go drop that burrito off now. So can we end the episode, please? Suffer for the fish.
I'm done.
End it. Deuce. I gotta go, dude.